Hi, I'm Ijama, and today I'm going to be walking through what the typical day-to-day work for a lexicographer will look like on the Igbo API Editor Platform. Before we get started in this video, make sure that you've created a new account with the Editor Platform. If you've already created an account, we can continue on by logging into the platform. When you're at first within the platform, you'll see this dashboard that says your name. You'll be able to see your personal contributions once it's loaded, and it'll be at the top. And then if we scroll down, we'll be able to see more community milestone progress statistics, like how many word suggestions have insipidity and how many words have insipidity, and even larger Lacuna Fund project goals, like how many dialectical variations are present, which again, our goal is 25,000 dialectical variations and 25,000 Igbo example sentences. So we have these personal stats. So you can see how many word suggestions I've approved or how many that I've denied or how many example suggestions I've approved and denied and even merged. But specifically for Lexicographer, your monthly goal is to create around 500 dialectical variations. This is a rough number that we have generated in order for us to get to 25,000 dialectical variations. Through 25,000 dialectical variations, we expect to grow the total number of words that we have publicly available to around 8,000 to 10,000 words. So let me put some visuals on what I'm talking about. If you go to the left-hand side here, you'll be able to see this words tab. This words tab is listing all the words that are available in our data set that are publicly available. So we have 2,500 publicly available words, meaning that anyone who's using our dictionary app or the Igbo API, they're able to search through these words and see all of their metadata. We're trying to increase this number from 2,500 to approximately 8,000 to 10,000 by the end of the 10-month period. The reason why we say approximately 8,000 to 10,000 is because we are focusing on creating dialectical variations and having 25,000 dialectical variations. So what does that mean? Well, because we're on the words the words page, what we're able to see here is some information about each word entry, which is a row, at a high level. So here we have our word status column. A word status is a status that is applied to a word, and there's 3 different types of statuses available for words. You have insufficient, sufficient, and complete. Our editing standards document walks through the difference between a sufficient word and a complete word. A sufficient word just includes the bare minimum information required for a word to be somewhat valuable for a user. A complete word goes above and beyond and requires extra information in order to be completely robust. If a word doesn't have at least one of these sufficient attributes, then it will be labeled as insufficient. So again, this explanation is available in our dictionary editing standards document. I highly recommend that you not only read it through once, but you use it throughout your entire time making edits. Again, in this list view, we're able to see the head words, the part of speech, their definitions, and variations. Right now, we're only showing 10, but if we wanted to have a longer list, we can show up to 25 and even up to 100. So it might be easier to kind of filter through. But specifically, to reach the goal of 500 dialectical variations created per month, we want to focus our attention to the Word Suggestions tab. The Word Suggestions tab is the area where newly created words or word entries are still being edited and updated and still need approval before they can get merged and released as words, aka making them publicly available. So in this list view, you're going to see a lot more incomplete or even insufficient word entries because they are still being worked through by our lexicographers. But let's say that I'm a lexicographer and I want to create a brand new word. I already searched within the data set for a word and I realized, oh, it just doesn't have it. So I'm going to go over to the create button in the top right hand corner, and this is going to pull up a new form in the browser. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type out my new word and I'm going to apply related attributes. All of our head words for our word entries must always be standard Igbo. So if you're not checking this checkbox for your word entry, you probably need to make this word entry a dialectical variation of an existing word entry or have a greater conversation with your team. All head words also must be accented. So even if your word does have an accent mark like this low tone, this checkbox always needs to be checked as like a final say this word is correctly accented. If this word ends up being slang, or if it's a borrowed term or a constructed term, which in this case means that it's a newly created Igbo term never existing before, then you would check this box. Right after that, I would apply the insibity, which is Chinese Unicode. If you want more information of how we handle insibity, then you can talk to our insibity expert, Eze, who has been working so hard to make sure that we support insibity properly. Next, we would have our part of speech, where we have classics like adjectives, adverbs, demonstrative, and more. Then I'll provide a quick definition. If there's a second definition that's not associated with the first definition, you can always add a new definition by clicking this green button. After that, every word must have a word pronunciation. So I can record my voice like new word, stop the recording and hear a playback, new word. If I like that, I will keep moving on. If I don't, I can click this reset recording button and then re-record. For dialectical variations, I really want to stress a lot of importance of this section. This is where you're going to be able to generate quickly within the month a total number of 500 or so dialectical variations. Right now, our word entry is just producing one dialectical variation, and that dialectical variation is the head word being in standard Igbo. But we want to be able to create multiple dialectical variations for each word entry. So if I have new word, but then I have something like new word, this is a dialectical variation. Right now, our word entry is producing two dialectical variations. I can record the audio pronunciation for this dialectical word, new word, and recording audio for dialectical variations is required for all dialectical variations for this project. Then within the dialect section, we're able to select multiple dialects because we are aware that even though there are so many different dialects, some dialects might say the same thing for the same word. So you can add up to all available dialectical or dialects on the platform. If you're scrolling through this list and you don't see your own dialectical variations, please let me know. It's a really quick and easy change or addition that we can make within 10 minutes. So if you know of another dialect that is associated with this word, let us know, and then we can add that to the list so you can append that dialectical variation. If I knew of another dialectical variation, then I can say something like new word. And then I would record it again, new word, and then dialects, I can select more dialects, like so. So this word entry is currently producing 3 dialectical variations. If the word had word stems, I would be able to search for the word stem, like something like word, and then it will bring up all of the words that we are looking for within our dataset. If you know that your current word has a word stem, but you're unable to find the word stem in our dataset, that's a perfect opportunity to create that new word in the dataset. So I'm just going to click this one, and then it will be associated or attached to this word. After that, each word entry must have at least one Igbo sentence and English sentence, or quote unquote an example associated with it. By creating the example in this document, this is directly attributing to the total number of example sentences that we want to grow to 25,000. So we have the Igbo version and the English version, and then we also are required to record the audio for that sentence. So this is some audio for my example sentence. And then again, you can hear it play back. Then we have our spelling variation section, which is very distinctly different from our dialectical variations. Dialectical variations come from the fact that this word comes from a dialectical change, a dialectical region, or just a different part of southeastern Nigeria. Spelling variations are kind of a catch-all to catch whenever there's a common different spelling for the same word of the same dialect, or maybe a common typo that's used for a particular word. For example, we would put ndewo as a head word, right? We could have ndewo as a head word with the 2 E's, but a classic common spelling variation would be ndewo without 2 E's, with just one. That would be a spelling variation, not a dialectical variation. But if there are other dialectical variations for greeting people that we would want to have associated with ndewo, then we would put it inside the dialectical variation section. So we want to make that distinction between dialectical variations and spelling variations abundantly clear. Finally, we have related terms, which can be any word that is somewhat related to our head word. So if you know of another greeting word, or if you know of any other word that's associated with this word, you can place that related word here. And again, if you can't find the word in the search bar, this is a great opportunity to add the word to the dataset. So I'm going to submit this word, and then you'll be able to see all the information that I applied. I have my dialectical variations here, I have my word stems, I even have my example sentence with an audio pronunciation, along with the head word and its part of speech and its audio pronunciation. In the top right hand corner, you'll see these two tags. First, we're doing a great job because we know that our word is sufficient. So it's going to be in like this see-through, like white background, green text tag. And then you're going to see this other tag saying Igbo API Editor. What this tag means is that it's telling you where this word suggestion came from. Word suggestions usually come from our Igbo API Editor platform, so you'll see this gray tag. But in the case where our word suggestion came from our community members, aka using the dictionary app through making suggestions, you'll see this change from a gray label to a purple label. So you just know where this word suggestion is coming from. If you're happy with this Word document, you can approve it yourself, but we need a final approval by reviewers. But congratulations, you've created your first word suggestion that's generated 3 dialectical variations, and no need for you to personally keep track of how much work you've been doing, because again, if we go back to our dashboard, we have all of our personal contributions, and whenever these stats load, you'll be able to see the total number of dialectical variations available on the platform or created on the platform. So this was the work that we did specifically for words, and the same flow can be applied to example sentences, where if you go to the examples list, you'll be able to see all the audio playback buttons, the styles for the sentences, the associated Igbo and English for the example, and then associated words. Whenever you see these orange labels saying that this word metadata is not linked, basically what's happening is that the platform was unsuccessful in actually finding a word that's associated in the example sentence. So to take a closer look here, we can take a look at this sentence. We can view it. You can see that the associated words are just words that are found within the sentence. So you can see that we have oku here within this example sentence. We can have all words that are available within an example sentence listed as associated words, but we require that at least just one word is associated with an example sentence. This is creating links between words and examples, which is really, really powerful. And again, if you want to go about creating your own example suggestions, then you can go to the example suggestions page, click create, and then go through the process of filling out the form. You'll see something like sentence style that will say no style, standard, or proverb. The reason why we have no style is just kind of like a catch-all default version of an example sentence. But standard is related directly to a standard Igbo sentence. So it's using all standard Igbo, no dialectical variations beyond that. And then proverb, if we're dealing with an Igbo proverb, then we'll be able to select the sentence style. We're also able to record the audio for the example. Then we're able to type out our example information. This meaning field is really nice because it can help allow the lexicographer to better explain the meaning of the sentence if the English translation is too one-to-one and it's not as coherent as desirable. Then we have this associated words input where again you can search for words that are used within the example sentence. And again, if you can't find the word that you're looking for, a great opportunity to add it. And then you can submit your example suggestion, wait for your reviewer to approve it, and then once approved, it can be merged. Lexicographers are not required or expected to merge words or example documents throughout their entire workflow. However, if they do come across a word that does have at least around 2 approvals, and one of those approvals is from a reviewer, then they have the go-ahead in order to merge that word. But we tend to just rely on reviewers to be clicking that merge button, but it is a team effort. So again, at a high level, the goal of lexicographers is to increase the total number of dialectical variations to 25,000. Each word entry can produce multiple dialectical variations. It's important to note that even if a word does have a dialectical variation, for example, if I edit here, it's important to count dialectical variations by the unique dialectical variants. So the actual word is a dialectical variation, not the number of dialects that are associated with that word. So right here, we have just 2 dialectal variations. If we keep adding other dialects associated with this word, the dialectal variation stays at 2. It's really important that we want to keep that in track. Because we're expecting to grow the number of dialectal variations to 25,000, we're expecting the total number of words created to be around 8,000 to 10,000 words. Right now we have 2,000 words, but we're expecting to grow that to 8,000 to 10,000 by the end of the 10-month period, because we imagine that there are a lot of words that just don't exist in this data set just yet. So we're going to be adding those new words along with their dialectal variations in this data set. Now you might be asking, okay, how do I go about that process? Well, again, during the onboarding session that we had for lexicographers, we quickly talked about how we have these good readings, or the lexicographer work process. This lexicographer work process document will walk you through step by step what you're going to be doing in order to grow the number of dialectal variations that we have to 25,000 and grow the number of words that we have to around 8 to 10,000. You're going to be reading through your assigned documentation and go word by word, making sure that each word is available within our dictionary dataset. You can search for both English words found in your text and the Igbo words that are found in your text as well. So that's at a high level how to use the Igbo API Editor Platform. If you're interested in what reviewers are doing for their work, so you get a better sense of the complete timeline, you can watch the reviewer video. But specifically for lexicographers, what you're going to be doing is creating new word suggestions, fully annotating them out with complete information, and then moving on to the next word. Thank you.